Hello YouTubers, subscribers and friends, welcome to my channel. I'm here at the park today. I like to come here to clear my mind, to think about things I need to do. But first I want to thank everybody for their nice comments about Mrs. Kravitz, and I also want to address all the negative people out there who are leaving negative comments or sending me personal negative comments, attacking me or saying negative stuff about Mrs. Kravitz. First of all, I'll block you immediately and delete your comments, and I will not respond back to any of your negativity or your negative comments towards me, my family, or Mrs. Kravitz. I don't understand people out there, and I just want to say that I'm getting a lot of personal messages, not only on YouTube but Instagram, and that if you're one of those people who are thinking about leaving me a negative comment or attack, just know this: you will be blocked immediately, and I will not respond to you. So if you don't want to get blocked, don't leave a negative comment. So in the last what is it, 12 hours probably, I don't know, it's been a long time. My wife and I did a lot of research yesterday, and let me say this to all the people out there who might be new to my channel, don't know anything about Mrs. Kravitzs, but you just see the video that she's passed away and you leave a comment. Is that a roadrunner? What is that right there? I don't know what that is. It's a big bird though. That is a roadrunner. He's cooling off. Well, let me go sit over here to leave him cool off a little bit there, because it is a little bit warm and breezy. Make sure there's no spiders under here. Look at him just staring at me there. That's why I love coming to this park. There's 4 roadrunners at this park that I see a lot. Look how beautiful he is. That's why I like coming here, because the beauty here just puts me at ease and clears my mind, because I'm able to get away from the things I'm dealing with every day and come here and just, for whatever amount of time that I'm here, see the beauty here. Yeah. Beautiful bird. Arizona roadrunner. Beep beep. I guess he's moving with the wind. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, there's a lot of people send me personal messages saying that to me that, oh, they know who Mrs. Kravitz is and who her family members are and stuff like that. And some even left them in the comments. But no, Mrs. Kravitz is not her real name. I will not say what her real name is. I do know her real name. I know her kids' names, where they live, and my wife and I have been in contact with via phone, and I've talked to them on the phone. So all you people out there sending me personal messages, private messages, DM me saying you know who she is and you have phone numbers of her family members. Mrs. Kravitzs doesn't have any family. I will say that. The only immediate family that she has is she has a daughter and she has a son, and that's it. Now, all her family members on her husband's side are still alive, that her son and daughter still have connections with, and that's how we contacted the family, and that's how we got a hold of the daughter and the son. I will say this, that the daughter lives in Florida and the son lives in Louisiana, which we thought he was in San Francisco, but he moves around so much. It's crazy. We got 26 phone numbers on her son alone, and none of them, they just goes direct straight to voice message or voicemail, whatever you want to call it. Some of them are disconnected and don't work anymore. It amazes me how somebody could have so many different phone numbers. She did leave a will. She left a living will on top of her counter in her kitchen and a letter to I don't know who. How do I know this? Because John, the landscaper guy, he took it. He went in Mrs. Kravitz's house and took it. I did talk with the police yesterday. They did talk to me, give me an interview in the animal control and everything. They took all my information and everything I know about Mrs. Kravitz. I did have it on video. I videotaped hours and hours of what I went through yesterday, of all the sheriff's department showing up, the coroner, and all that. And I talked with my wife, and I asked her, "What do you think? You think I should put all this stuff on my YouTube?" And she's like, "No, I think you should edit all that out and just put it as little as possible. Just let people know that Mrs. Kravitz passed away. That's pretty much all you should put." These videos I make every day are kind of like a video diary for me, or a journal or something. This is what I'm going through every day in my life. I'm not looking to get famous, nor do I care to be famous about any videos that I put on. If some of them go viral or whatever, it doesn't matter to me, because I'm not looking to get famous or be famous. These videos are for me, my family members, my friends who live in different parts of the world that wonder what I'm doing every day, and they're able to check in on my videos and watch what I do on a daily basis. Grandkids, my daughter, and so this is like a journal for me. So if I ever want to go back, whatever day I decide to go back and see what I did on that day or that week or that month or year, or how much I've changed and what I'm doing around my house, that's what these videos are for, pretty much. And anybody who's interested in following along and watching what I do every day. I never made videos about Mrs. Kravitz to be a hit viral video or to attack Mrs. Kravitz. That's why I don't use her real name. It's because it's just a neighbor that I was dealing with, a negative person I was dealing with on a daily basis. Now, the videos you see of Mrs. Kravitz have been edited down so much that a lot of people you watch it, you might think you know Mrs. Kravitz, or you might think you know me. No, I'm not an idiot. I'm not an idiot. I'm not an asshole. I'm not a bad guy. I am a nice guy. A lot of you say, "Oh, well, you're a nice guy." I am, but don't take my kindness for weakness, because I will put my foot in your ass in a heartbeat if you try to hurt me, my family, or do anything bad towards us. So, but I am a nice guy. Generally, I am a nice guy, and I'd like to treat people nicely the way that I would be treated, no matter how bad of a person they are towards me. I still try to stay positive. I still try to treat them as nice and as kind as I possibly can. I mean, yeah, there's times where I can't take it anymore. I blow up on them, which I have done to Mrs. Kravitz several times. The videos you see of Mrs. Kravitz are just one or two videos that I've put on there over the years, and you guys don't see the whole thing, the whole story behind Mrs. Kravitz. And not only is she negative and nasty just to me and my family, but it's anybody who comes around her home. Anybody, the police, the county, the next door neighbors on the other side, the neighbors that live in the back. Nobody likes her, and I'm not exaggerating that when I say that. Everybody who knows Mrs. Kravitz cannot stand her. I have talking to the other neighbors to let them know that Mrs. Kravitz has passed away, and all their comments were, "Oh, damn, it's about time that old bat passed away." You know, she had it come, whatever took her down, and she had it coming to her. So many negative things that they would tell me when I was just letting them know, "Wow, she's passed away." You know, nobody cared. Even her family members that we've got contact with, I've learned so much about Mrs. Kravitz's in the last 12 hours that I ever wanted to know about Mrs. Kravitz. And it's crazy that there's no living family members from Mrs. Kravitz on Mrs. Kravitz's side of the family. Everybody we got contact with is on her husband's side, her children's father's side. And I talked to Mrs. Kravitz's ex-husband's sister, older sister, and she told me so much stuff about Mrs. Kravitz. Even though her and Mrs. Kravitzz didn't get along at all, she was very sad to hear that she actually passed away. But she told me that she has burned a lot of bridges in her lifetime, and that's why nobody cares when she packed up and came here to Arizona about where she's at or what she's doing or if she's healthy or sick or alive. Nobody cares. Even her kids, they don't have a relationship with Mrs. Kravitz. The mother and daughter never talking. She's never seen the grandkids that she has from her daughter. The son, who Mrs. Kravitz has always told us that he's gay, that's how we found the son, because she's always talking about this gay website that he's on and his alias that he used, and that's how my wife tracked down Mrs. Kravitz's son, and that's how we got in contact with the family on the kid's side, the father's side, through this gay website. I'm not going to say what it is. And he had his Facebook on there, and we went to his Facebook, his alias Facebook, and from his Facebook, my wife was able to find his father's side of the family, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins, and stuff like that. And that's how, we were sending messages to all these people, and one of them just happened to be online, the uncle, and was completely shocked that Mrs. Kravitz had passed away. And through many, many, many hours of phone calls and talking to these family members, they were extremely shocked that somebody even cared to do this, what my wife and I were doing, because of Mrs. Kravitz's negativity. I just learned that Mrs. Kravitz had a brain tumor. I didn't know that about her. 5 years ago, she was diagnosed with a cancerous tumor, and the doctors told her she didn't have long to live. So I don't know how long she's had that living will on her counter in her kitchen. And the only reason I know that is where it was, because the police officers told us, no, she did leave a living will. Now, John, the landscaper guy, went and talked to the police after everything was done and over. They left all the doors and windows open. Man, the stink was so bad. It's just incredible how bad it smells coming all the way to my house. The sheriffs, they all said the investigation is done, and they took the body away, and that's it. They're not coming back. There will not be a cleanup crew. That is the responsibility of the family members, the next of kin, to come in and take care of all of that. So, just to change the subject for a little bit, a couple of years ago I went hiking back in there, and there's a wash back there, because right now I'm watching a lot of gold prospecting videos. I found an old sleuth covered with a tarp over there, a camouflage tarp. Somebody who's been looking for gold over there. I'm wondering if I go get some black sand over there, that maybe I'll find gold over there. I don't know. That's just what I'm interested in right now. I did buy a gold panning pan, but I haven't used it yet. I don't know if the camera's picking up the wind. It's very windy. Maybe if I walk backwards, I'll block some of the wind. But yeah, that's what the sheriff's department told us. They won't be coming back. So they left everything unlocked, windows open, doors open, and John came back at the end of the day and asked me if they took Mrs. Kravitz's body, and I told him yes, they did. And which I had everything on videotape, not videotape, but video. And my wife just said, no, that's not necessary. Don't show that on YouTube, Give her some kind of privacy, but let people know at the same time that she has passed away. So, the daughter and the son have been contacted. So they do know that the mother has passed. And to me, that's the only thing I care about. Now, when John came back yesterday afternoon, he went in the house, close all the windows and turn on all the lights and lock the doors and stuff because he has the key to the house. And he took the will and her cell phone, but he left the letter there. I don't know who the letter is addressed to. Maybe her son. I don't know. He didn't tell me. But he was upset about the will, and he showed me the will, and I took pictures of what he showed me. And that's where I got some phone numbers from the will, and none of the phone numbers work. All no longer in use. So I don't know how the police gets a hold of the next of kin. I don't know how that stuff works, but I told John, you know, that's stealing, John. You need to take that back and leave it on the counter in case somebody and her family members come looking for her. And he's the one that told me, he goes, did you know she had a tumor? And I said, what do you mean she had a tumor? Yeah, she had a brain tumor. She was diagnosed 5 years ago with a cancerous brain tumor. The doctors told her she didn't have long to live. And she's had this will for a long time. And he told me, it's not right because it's mine. And I said, what is yours? And he said, she gave everything to me. And I'm like, so what are you talking about? And he showed me the will, and he said, the only thing she left me in the will was the animals and the vehicles. That's it. And he showed it to me in the will, and I saw it. He ain't getting the house. Like Mrs. Kravitz told me, on August 23rd was the last time that I saw Mrs. Kravitz alive. And that was the last time that Mrs. Kravitz and I, we had a connection, a positive connection. It was a very brief connection, but it showed me that Mrs. Kravitz does have a heart. And what happened was, as I was over there trying to help her, before I went over there, if you watch the video where I'm cutting the tree down, you could hear her yelling for help. Several minutes before I ever heard her yelling for help, there's a huge spider web right here, giant, goes all the way up down here like this. And when I went over there, I was hesitant because of the history. Even there's stuff going on between Mrs. Kravitz and I that you people don't even know, just because I didn't put that stuff on the internet. My wife and my family, we all know even more stuff that she's done to not only us but to other people, that I was so hesitant to go onto her property because Mrs. Kravitz is a very nasty, very negative person when she was alive, and would in a heartbeat call the cops on you in a heartbeat and tell the cops lies to try to get you in trouble. So that's what made me hesitant about going over there and helping Mrs. Kravitz, and that's what made me keep from going onto her property, because she's called the police on me so many times, and the cops have showed up and talked to me and got me on record of Mrs. Kravitzs saying I did this and this, which none of it is true. Not even a 0.5% of anything she ever said to me about the cops was ever true. And the police department knows. They told me off the record, we know that she has a mental issue, that she's crazy, but we still have to come out and investigate these accusations. None of the accusations are ever true, ever. Not about me and not about any other neighbor. But what happened was, John was told by Mrs. Kravitzs that I will give you everything, the house and everything. And in the will, it's not what it says. Everything's being left to her son. Not her daughter, just her son and her son only. He is named in the will. And I didn't touch the will, I didn't read the will. I told John to put it back. It's not right that he took it. And he said he was going to fight it. I'm like, how are you going to fight it? I got 26 phone numbers in her cell phone. I said, what? He's like, yeah, I took her cell phone too. He goes, I want to know if you would help me. I said, I don't want any of the phone numbers. I don't want to touch the cell phone. I want nothing to do with this. I don't care if you get the house. I don't care if her son gets the house. The only thing that I care about is that her kids know that the mother is no longer with us. That's the only thing that I care about. I could care less if the county comes and burns the house down because she died in the house. Who knows how long she's been dead in the house. All I know is the last time I saw her alive was August 23rd. The last time John saw her alive was a week from today, last Wednesday. Wednesday night he came over and fed the dogs and let the dogs out, and that's the last time my wife and I saw the dogs outside. The dogs are fine, the cat's fine. John has the cats, he has the cats, he has the dogs the cat, the turtle, the horse, the miniature horse, and the donkey, and Mrs. Kravitz's truck. All those I know for a fact that Mrs. Kravitz gave to him, because she has told me before, way before she ever passed away, she told me she'd give him that stuff. Even on August 23rd, when her and I were having our little moment where I was trying to pick her up off the ground and I was afraid to hurt her because she looked horrible. Without going into great detail what she looked like, death was pulling her down to the ground and I was trying to pick her up. Let's just leave it at that. But she looked at me, and with her eyes open, I looked at her, and she asked me what I was building over in my house. And I told her I was building a little tiny house in the courtyard for my wife. And she looked at me and she said, "That's the most beautiful little house I've ever seen. You're doing a great job." And within a matter of seconds, 10 seconds, as I was absorbing that kindness and love that she was giving to me about something I worked so hard on, she ripped it right out of my heart at the same time and said, "Nah, pick me up, you fucking asshole." It was like dealing with a schizophrenic type person. Two different people at one time. Look at these butterflies. In Indonesia, they have a saying that if you see butterflies, it means somebody in your life that was special to you is trying to get a hold of you, get your attention to make you think about them. See, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 butterflies, 1 over 5 butterflies. So that's what they believe in Indonesia. Butterflies are the souls of loved ones that have come into your life and touched you some way. My daughter loves butterflies. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I just thought I'd pass that information on. But yeah, so we had that great little moment there. But now that John told me that she had a tumor in her head and she knew she was going to die, she probably just didn't know when, you know. And she told me she was in a lot of pain that day that I was trying to help her up, and I eventually called the 911 and the paramedics came and everything like that. A beautiful butterfly. But they didn't do anything. I was standing there when they had her sign the document, and she didn't really sign, she just put an X, and they said that's all they need. They had the guy looked at the other paramedics and said, "You guys saw her put an X?" And they said, yeah. I said, "All right, that's all we need." Didn't matter if it was her name or not, but there's the Roadrunner, he's back again. So, you know, God gave us free will, so that means nobody can tell you what to do with your life. As long as you're not hurting anyone or breaking the law or hurting yourself, pretty much whatever you decide you want to go through, that's completely up to you. I understand that and I get that. I do respect that. But it's really hard when you see somebody in so much pain, suffering. If you have any kind of compassion or sympathy for somebody that's human, you want to help them as much as you can, even though you try and you beg for them to get help and they don't do it. It frustrates you. Now, Mrs. Kravitz, I am not going to lie and go on this YouTube internet and say, "Oh, I miss Mrs. Kravitz and I wish she was still here," because that would be a lie. I don't miss her. I just find the way that she left this life was very sad. That the bridges she burned in her life, not only with me, but with family members in her past history. I got the whole history of Mrs. Kravitz from family members. And she wasn't just nasty just to me. She was a very nasty, pissed off woman about life to everybody that she came in contact with. She's always been like that. That's what I didn't just get that from her husband's older sister, but I talked to so many. They gave my phone number to the whole family, and they were calling me like crazy last night. I talked to the cousin, the niece, the nephews, the brothers. They all, not one of them had anything positive to say about her. And I find it sad that even in death, nobody can really look past all the negativity and say something nice about her. They were actually very shocked that somebody in Mrs. Kravitz's life actually cared enough to try to track down family members and let them know that she had passed away, because everybody gave up on her 50 years ago. which is pretty sad to me. Bird. I don't want to go out like that myself personally. Another thing I want to address is, as far as I'm concerned, my wife and I did what we wanted to do. We got a hold of the family, the members, we got a hold of the daughter. We didn't get a hold of the son, but we talked to the daughter, and she's in contact with the brother, and even though they don't get along, they do stay in contact. She has already let him know that the mother's passed, and she passed my phone number off to him. He has my phone number. I've met him before. I know what he looks like. And the daughter is she's in Florida. She's flying to Louisiana today to meet up with her brother. And they're going to take care of whatever they decide they're going to do. It's in their hands now. Because the only thing that I really cared about was, even though she was nasty and crabby and bitchy and very negative towards me and my family, and there's things that she done to us that I didn't even put on YouTube or even want to tell anybody about, but they're very, 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 very bad and nasty. If I made a video about what she did and the things she said, people would be sick to their stomach, because that's how nasty of a woman she was. But she's still somebody's mother, and she's still a human, and she's still... We all need somebody eventually in life to tie up the loose ends. No matter how nasty or bad or good that you've been in life, we all need that. Nobody should die or pass away like Mrs. Kravitzs did. To me, it's not right. It's just something I believe. As far as her house goes and her property, I could care less who ends up with it. It doesn't bother me. And for the people who are saying to me, well, you can go over there now, Mrs. Kravitzs is gone, and you can rip down that blockage that she built. Well, she didn't build it. She hired John, the landscaper, to do it. And I talked with him yesterday about, you think maybe we can take that down now? And he's like, I don't know, we'll see. So it's not my right to go onto that Mrs. Kravitz's property and start ripping stuff down that I don't like. I wouldn't like anybody to do that to me if I passed away, to my family. Start just ripping crap down that they didn't like, because it's not my property. No matter if she is alive or dead, I still give her the respect as a human to stay off her property and don't touch anything. Leave that for the family members. The reason I asked John to do it, because he's the one that built it. And now he knows the real history why she hadn't built it. He thought it was a ridiculous thing for her to do. So, Mrs. Kravitzs wasn't an honest, nice person. She liked to tell a lot of lies. Am I going to miss her? No. It is going to be weird, though, to look outside my door and I'd see her doing something out in the yard. I mean, that's why I figured out something was wrong, because I wasn't seeing her outside or hearing the dogs bark or stuff like that. But we'll get over it. We'll move on. I mean, death is a natural thing that happens to each and every one of us, and we're all going to go through it. It's how we decide to go through it is what makes the difference. Do you want to go out? Do you want to leave this world negative and pissed off at everybody and everything? Do you want to disassociate yourself from family members that may or may not know that you're sick and that you're dying? You know? If there's one thing I learned about Mrs. Kravitzs is this. It's never too late to say you're sorry to somebody, or say you love somebody. You know? It takes two. I mean, if you have a family member that you are arguing with or haven't talked to in a long time, maybe now is a good time for you to pick up that phone or send that email, because it takes two to tango. You know, ask yourself, do you want to go out like Mrs. Kravitzs did? I don't. That's why I never act like this to any family member. Even though if I have a family member that's being negative towards me, I always try to see something positive in them. And that's what I did with Mrs. Kravitzs. That's why I went over there to help her, and that's why I continue to try to help her even in death. And now that I did what I decided I was going to do and it's done, now it's up to the family members to decide what they're going to do. So everybody's out there just saying, oh, John shouldn't get this or John shouldn't get that. John has been working for Mrs. Kravitz in her yard for 5 years. I don't know him on a personal basis. He's a young kid. Some of the stuff he tells me I don't believe, and some of the stuff I believe because I know for a fact I've heard Mrs. Kravitz say this. So, will he get the house? I don't know. That's up to the family members, whether they want the house or not, whether they want to give it to him. Do I think he has any kind of legal thing to fight for the house? No, I don't. Just because Miss Kravitzs told me doesn't mean that he has that power to get the house from the family members. Even though the family members that I talked to said they don't want nothing to do with her and her negativeness and anything from her. Somebody's going to want it somewhere. Even if they don't want it, they can take the money, they can sell it, and they can invest it into some kind of cancer treatment, because I think that's what took her out. I think the tumor, cancerous brain tumor, took Mrs. Kravitzs out and made her crazy. Some kind of good has to come out of this. I believe that in my heart, 100%, that some kind of goodness is going to come out of this. That's my hopes and that's my beliefs. But as far as who gets the house, I don't care. All I know is my wife and I always try to be nice to people that we meet, no matter how nasty or mean or negative they are. We always try to take the high road in life with everything we do. So if there's anything that you learn from watching my videos, especially about Mrs. Kravitzs, is everybody deserves love. No matter if they want to give you love, you as a human being can always put out love constantly. Whether they accept your love and forgive you or whatever, as long as you stay positive and you continue to put out positive energy and love to people that you meet each and every day in your life, you know, that's karma, man. I believe in karma. My wife's always saying everything happens for a reason. There are people that we meet in our day-to-day lives that we're like, oh my God, I can't believe I freaking met this person. Why is this person bothering me? Or why is this person, you know, keep contacting me? There's a reason why. And you have to learn what that reason is. I mean, Mrs. Kravitzs is a negative person. Mrs. Kravitzs has taught me that no matter how nasty and negative somebody can be towards me, I can continue to be positive towards them. No matter what. No matter the words, the actions, the accusations. As long as I deflect that negativity and don't let it burn me up or eat me up inside, you know, and I continue to put out love and positive energy towards that person. Hope one day that you might get that 10 seconds of love back from them, like she gave to me about telling me how beautiful the little house we built. Then it's worth it. It's worth it. So that's it with Mrs. Kravitzs. She's gone. And hopefully she's gone to a better place. So thanks for taking the time to watch my video. As always, remember to like, comment, subscribe. It don't cost anything. It's free. And I'm gone.